Hello friends, welcome back to RMK Resolutions. In the previous video we have seen the characteristics of the phylum Chordata. In this particular part we are going to cover the further parts of the phylum Chordata. So phylum Chordata, it is divided into the two groups, that is a group Acraniata and group Craniata. Group Acraniata, they having a three subphylum, that is the subphylum Hemichordata, subphylum Urochordata and subphylum Cephalochordata. We have discussed these three subphylum in a previous video, so please do watch that videos carefully. In this particular talk we are going to discuss about the second division of the phylum Chordata, that is the Craniata, and they having only one subphylum, that is a subphylum Vertebrata. So we are going to discuss about the characteristics of the subphylum Vertebrata. So please subscribe my channel RMK Resolutions and hit the bell icon so we'll get the regular notification. So let's move to the video. Hello friends, welcome back. So this is the part 4 of our lecture, and here we are going to discuss about the brief classification of the phylum Chordata with their characteristics. So in the previous videos we have learned about some characteristics of the phylum Chordata and their characteristics. So this is the quite large video, so we have mixed some different parts of the lecture. So let's continue. So we have already seen this particular slide. It explains the brief ideas about the classification of the phylum Chordata. So this is the very important slide here. Phylum Chordata, it having two groups, that is the group Acraniata, it is also called as the lower chordates, and group Craniata, which is the higher chordates. Then group Acraniata, it is again further divided into the three subphylums Hemichordata, Urochordata and Cephalochordata, and this group Craniata, they having a one subphylum Vertebrata, and they again having a further divisions. So now let's focus on the group B, that is the group Craniata. So this particular animals which come under the group Craniata, they are aquatic and terrestrial in nature. They are having aquatic habitat also and terrestrial habitat also. Then usually these are the large size animals, and they are also known as the higher chordates, or sometimes they are called as the vertebrate animals. So these animals, they having a distinct head is well developed, and vertebral column is present as a notochord. Then they having a jaws, and brain is well developed, and that is protected by the cranium, bony cranium or skull. So this particular Craniata, they include the single subphylum, that is the subphylum Vertebrata. So let's see the characteristics of the subphylum Vertebrata. This Vertebrata, this is the fourth subphylum of the group phylum Chordata. So Vertebrata, that name was derived from the Latin word vertebratus, means backbone. So notochord in the vertebrates, either it is supplemented or it is replaced by the another structure, that is the vertebral column, and that particular vertebral column, it is covered by some tissue like structure. Next characteristics of the vertebrata, body, it is divisible into the head, neck, trunk and tail. So usually these animals are the dioecious animals, and Vertebrata is the largest chordate subphylum, which included near about 45,000 different species. So this particular Vertebrata, this is the larger subphylum amongst the 4 subphylum of the Chordata. So this particular subphylum Vertebrata, again it having a 2 divisions. Number 1 is the Agnatha and number 2 is the Ganthostomata. So let's see the difference between divisions Agnatha and Ganthostomata. This is an important point for the exam point of view. So the first difference is about the jaws. Agnatha, true jaws are absent, and in Ganthostomata true jaws are present. Then paired appendages are absent in the Agnatha division, and here the paired appendages are present. The third difference, this particular Agnatha, they having only 2 semicircular canal in an inner ear. Only 2 semicircular canal are present. So this particular semicircular canal, these are the fluid filled tubes which are present in an inner ear, which help to make the balance of the animal. So in the Agnatha, only 2 semicircular canals are present in an inner ear, and for the Ganthostomata 3 semicircular canals are present in the internal ear. So remember this particular semicircular canal, these are the fluid filled canals which helps to make the balance of the animal. Fourth difference, this particular notochord is persistent in the adult in case of the Agnatha, and in case of the Ganthostomata this notochord is remains, or that particular notochord is replaced by the another structure called as the vertebrae or vertebral column. Okay, so let's focus on the division 1, that is the Agnatha. That particular name was derived from the Greek word. Greek A means absent or not, and Ganthos means jaw. So these particular Agnatha animals, these are the jawless fish, jawless animal, and these are the fish-like vertebrates. Remember my dear friends, these are not fish, but they are looking like a fish, and they are without jaw, or true jaws are absent, and paired limbs are also absent. So first class of the group division Agnatha is the Ostracodermi. So the Ostracodermi, that name is again derived from the Greek word. That Greek ostrakon means shell and derma means skin. So there are several extinct orders are present over here. Extinct means not a single species found on the earth. So these are also called as the ancient animals, and they are heavily armed. Armed means what? It is covered by some shell. So their skin is covered. So these are the Paleozoic. Paleozoic means what? This is the era between the Precambrian and Mesozoic era. So the animals which comes under the class Ostracodermi, these are the world's first vertebrate, we can say, and collectively they are called as the Ostracoderms. So we can take an examples, Cephalapis and Thylodus. You remember these two examples of the class Ostracodermy. So on your screen here, this is the image of the Cephalapis. So Cephalapis, probably these are the monotypic genus and they are the extinct forms, that is not a single species are found on the land. And this is the image of Thelodus. Again, the source is Wikipedia. This one is the Thelodus. Again, this Thelodus, it is the extinct forms. So Ostracodermy is the class 1, and then the class 2 is the Cyclostomata. So Cyclostomata name was derived from the Greek word cyclos, means circular, and stoma means mouth. So circular mouth they having, that's why they are called as the Cyclostomata. So body is eel like and elongated body is there. So eel like means what? It is the elongated cylindrical body, and skin is smooth without scales. Scales are absent, and then obviously jaws are also absent, and lateral fins are also absent. Then mouth, it is the rounded mouth. Remember, this is an important point. Mouth is the rounded mouth, and they are the suctorial mouth. Suctorial means what? That particular mouth is adapted for the sucking purposes, or mouth having a suckers for the feeding purposes, and that mouth also having ability to adhere to certain substratum. So that's why this is the suctorial mouth, that is the sucking mouth, we can say. So gills are present, 5 to 6, 16 pairs of the gills are present. Then heart of the Cyclostomata animal, it is a 2-chamber heart. Mostly they are the parasitic and scavengers. Parasitic forms exist. Near about 50 species are found in the Cyclostomata class. Example, you can say the lamprey, this is the common name, or petromyzon, and hagfish, it is also called as the myxine. See, this is an example of the lamprey. See, circular mouth, and this particular mouth is a suctorial mouth, that is, this is the sucking type of mouth, we can say. These are the some Wikipedia images. Here you can find these are the gills which are present on the body surface for the respiratory purposes, and these are the elongated animals, we can say Cyclostomata, elongated, cylindrical and circular mouth. And you can also observe here there is no scales present on the body surface, so skin is smooth. Again, these are the some this is the example of the myxine. Again, this myxine you can see here, this one is the Wikipedia image. Smooth skin, cylindrical body, eel like body, elongated body, you can say. Myxine or hagfish. Okay, so let's move to the division 2, that is the Gantostomata. So name Gantostomata is derived from the Greek word, that Greek Ganthos means jaws and stoma means mouth. So jaws are well developed in the Gantostomata, so they are also called as the jawed vertebrates which having a true jaws, and paired limbs are also present for the Ganthostomata. So this particular Ganthostomata, it is further divided into the two superclasses Pisces and superclasses Tetrapoda. So these are the two important superclass of the division Ganthostomata. So all these particular fish or fish-like animals and aquatic, they comes under the superclass Pisces, whereas the four-footed terrestrial Ganthostomes, they come into the superclass Tetrapoda. So again, the differentiation point important for the exam point of view, the difference between the superclass Pisces and Tetrapoda. So let's see the first difference. So Pisces, we know that fish or fish-like animals, they are exclusively aquatic, that is they are found only in the water. So aquatic vertebrates we can say. And tetrapods, they having a aquatic mode of habitat and they also having a terrestrial mode of habitat, that is they live on the land, and they also having arboreal and aerial mode of habitat. Arboreal means they live on the larger trees, and aerial means they having ability to fly. So tetrapod, they exhibit all these habitats. Then the second difference is about the appendages or limbs. So paired limbs, if present, only fins, and here pentadactyl limbs are present for the tetrapoda. So in case of the Pisces, third difference, median fins are present, and for the tetrapoda, median fins are absent. Then fourth difference, in case of the Pisces, skin is moist and scaly, because here Pisces, all the fish or fish-like animals come, so obviously they are found in the water, so skin is moist and different types of scales are present on the body surface. In case of the tetrapoda, that skin it is dry, because they have mostly they having a terrestrial mode of habitat, and skin is not cornified. Cornified means without scale. Scales are not present on the body surface. The fifth difference is about the reproductory system. So the fifth difference is about the respiratory system. So respiration, they are having an aquatic mode of respiration by means of the gills. In case of the Pisces, pairs of gills are present on the body surface for the respiratory purposes. And in case of the tetrapoda, respiration is the aerial by means of the lungs. Lungs are developed for the respiratory purposes. Sixth difference, sense organs are functional in the water only, and here in case of the tetrapoda, sense organs are functional in the air.